John F. Kennedy said, "Victory has 100 fathers, but defeat is an orphan." Everyone wants to own success. No one wants to touch failure. Why do people love God so much? Because they are imagined not to fail. What then are God forms? Anonymous said, "God forms are forms of gods. They're God shapes in the human mind, not the gods themselves. If I wanted to assume the God form of Odin, because I wanted eloquence or wisdom, or for some other ritual purpose, I might put on a hat or cloak, something that hides my face. I might get a spear and carve its shaft with runes. I might suspend myself from a tree and stab myself with that spear. I might grow a long beard, etc., etc. By wearing God shapes, we can connect to the powers of the gods. You don't even have to believe in the gods at all to use God forms. From a chaos magic perspective, at some level, the universe and humanity at large, combined with your own associations, will respond to the God form. Using God forms is like borrowing skills, forms and functions, and authority from the being whose shape you are borrowing. An alternate chaos magic take is that such things, drawing on archetypes, enable you to access parts of yourself you can't normally get to, via use of imagery, sign and symbol. With a God form, a magician takes on the attributes of a god, or an equivalent, such as Superman, within ceremonial or ritual magic. They seek to use the essence of that deity to direct their own abilities and desires. On another level, a God form is the highest thought form, with the most objective reality for most people. Sigils, servitors, egregores, and God forms actualize intentions. Sigils are magic spells designed and activated to achieve specific, limited goals. Servitors are entities created by a magician from a sigil to more actively and directly perform the desired goals. Egregores are servitors so charged that they become autonomous beings. God forms are egregores so powerful that they become archetypes, directly influencing and even controlling the world. Prophets, high priests, shamans, gurus, demagogues, and so on might be considered as magicians that create, deploy, and weaponize God forms. The QAnon conspiracy theory was effectively a God form. It had an incredible impact on tens of millions of people and was the primary reason for the notorious storming of the Capitol in the USA. QAnon more or less declared Donald Trump God, fighting a holy war against Satan, the deep state, and the Democrats. The people at the Capitol that day were possessed, inflated, out of their minds, operating wholly under the power of the unconscious. The more that people invest in any of the magical constructs, sigils, servitors, egregores, or God forms, the more highly charged these constructs become and the more power, including magical power, they wield. The Abrahamic God wields tremendous power, not because it's a real thing, but because so many billions of people believe in it and act as if it were a real thing. In the human world, beliefs about reality are much more important than actual reality. Our world is shaped by what people believe to be true, not by what is actually true. To increase the power of God forms, it's possible to sacrifice sigils, servitors, and egregores to the God forms. They then absorb and integrate all of their energy. Do thought forms reflect a split personality? A servitor is often viewed as a part of the personality of the magician that created it, but is now severed from him and operating independently. Others say that the servitor is a fragment of the deep mind, hence not a product of the psyche of any particular magician. So, does the servitor belong to the order of the personal unconscious or the collective unconscious? Do the likes of imaginary friends, poltergeists, ghosts, and guardian angels belong to the personal unconscious, while demons, angels, devils, and gods belong to the collective unconscious? Can a servitor in the personal unconscious be promoted to an egregore in the collective unconscious, and the egregore then promoted to a God form? Are ghosts actually servitors produced purely by the unconscious to complete unfinished business in the world? Sigils, servitors, and egregores are on a scale of increasingly sophisticated thought forms. The highest thought forms are the God forms. These are the ones that rule our world. They are the archons. Is there a limbo for thought forms? Egregores are the stage of mental creation beyond servitors. Many egregores end up wandering lost in the collective unconscious. Some of these egregores can become God forms. Was the Abrahamic God a wandering lost entity in the collective unconscious that managed to attach itself to a wandering lost tribe, the Hebrews? It took over their psyches and turned them into its own servitors, obsessively carrying out its bidding. The Titans, the first generation of Greek gods, vanished into the collective unconscious and were replaced by the Olympian gods as Greece's new god forms. The Olympians were in turn supplanted by the Abrahamic god. Will the Olympians enjoy a second coming, or is it time for the rebirth of the Titans? Should we live in a Titanic world? Then again, the Titanic sank on its maiden voyage. Did it take the Titanic god form with it?